I wanted to talk to you a little bit about voice leading with diminished seventh chords. And so I've got a little progression here that's going to feature a couple ascending diminished seventh chords and then one descending diminished seventh chord. Notice that they all occur on relatively weak harmonic stresses: strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong. And so all these diminished are on weak beats. The exception would be the 5 diminished 7 and 1 diminished 7, which would normally occur on strong beats. Anyway, if we spell these diminished 7 chords just in the bass clef, I'm just going to spell a few of them here. And thinking about maybe just coloring these in just for illustration purposes. So here's a fully diminished 7 with all minor thirds, and we get this for our C sharp diminished 7. Okay, now you'll notice that there are 2 diminished fifths in these diminished 7 chords if they're spelled this way in root position. C sharp to G is a diminished fifth, and E to B flat is a diminished fifth. And maybe from your tonal harmony classes or something else, you might know that these diminished fifths are tending to resolve in. So when we resolve C sharp and G sharp in, G goes to F, C sharp goes to D. And also E goes up to F and B flat goes down to A. That's the resolution of the diminished fifth into a third, which is very common. Okay, and so this is, more of how it might work in a classical composition. Again, I'll color all these in. These are not avoid notes. These are I just want to do something a little bit later with it. So again, we have 2 diminished fifths here, the D sharp to the A and the F sharp to the C. And so, again, here's our, that wants to resolve in, and then this wants to resolve like that, okay? And now we get to this one. So this wants to resolve to that, and this wants to resolve into that, and together we get this. So there's our E chord. There's our E chord. Okay. So again, all minor thirds in these diminished seventh chords, and they tend to want to resolve. Of course, the bass is going to resolve up. Some of the upper voices may resolve down, especially in sort of a classical setting. All right, now if we have a flat 3 diminished, you probably remember that some enharmonic spelling is appropriate sometimes for diminished 7 chords. So I'm going to spell some of these pitches enharmonically, and I'll end up with, and I've noticed my spacing of the notes is not great, so let me fix that. Put the G over here, the A over here, the C, and then it's going to be much better. Okay, so I'm spelling this enharmonically, and there's kind of a reason I'm doing this, because the descending diminished 7th chords, there's kind of a neat thing that happens with them. If we resolve E flat diminished 7 to D minor 7, we're going to spell it D, F, A, C, and what do you notice here? We have the C hold over, and the A is going to hold over as well, and then this E flat, of course, goes down to D, the G flat goes down to F, and so we have nice voice leading all around. These have common tones. So these diminished ascending ones, there are no common tones between this chord and that chord. There are no common tones between this chord and that chord, but look at when we have these descending diminished, we get some common tones. So in tonal harmony, they're often called descending. They're called common tone diminished 7 chords. Okay, so just keep with this same bass note, and I'm going to do some more voice leading above to show you what might happen more in a contemporary setting. So in a contemporary setting, you might get something a little bit more like this. Here's my C chord. So again, I'm leaving out these filled-in notes and just using the bass here, and then put in my diminished 7th. Now I've already got a C sharp in the bass, so I'd want to leave that out, but I'm going to put in my G and my B flat here. So G, B flat, E, and I have a C sharp in the bass. Now what happens in contemporary music a lot of times is you have this parallel motion. As the chords go up and up, all the chord tones are going to go up. So you won't have such strict voice leading like I was talking about with the with this voice leading down here. You won't have the resolution of the diminished fifths necessarily. But we're going to constantly go up and probably maintain some good voice leading as we go. Oops. My penmanship is suffering as usual. All right, and so now we're going to go up to a 3 chord here. Okay, so what I've got now is and then fill it out with some descending motion. So again, we're going to have E flat, G flat, A, and C probably here. So here's our G flat. G is going to go to G flat. And we're going to put our C here. And let's see, we're going to put our A down here. And as you will see, the C and the A again are going to be common tones here, just like they were in the close position voice leading that I came up with, and the G flat will go down to the F. So that'll be some smooth voice leading. So, and then what I think maybe I'll put in here is a little auxiliary diminished 7 chord. So, as you remember, one of the auxiliary diminished 7s is 5 diminished 7. It's usually followed by 5, 7 or something like that. So we're going to put in a G diminished 7 and then going to a G7 and then probably going to a 1 over here. Okay, so 1, maybe a 1-6 and a C6. All right, so I'm going to put a G, low G, and another G. I guess I'll leap the octave. That's kind of fun. And then go back to C. All right, so now I need a G diminished. Now notice this is on a stronger harmonic stress. Where should I put it so I don't goof up my voice? Stronger and weak and stronger harmonic stress. So notice this is the only diminished that's going to be on a relatively stronger beat compared to the chord that comes after it. All right, so I'm going to put in, I'm going to spell my G diminished 7. Now G diminished 7 would be G, B flat, probably C sharp, and probably E. So spell these enharmonically. Right? So I've got my G, I did B flat, C sharp, and an E. Here's, so I'll put my E here, C sharp here, and B flat here. Whoops, I got ahead of myself. And what happens is the B flat's going to go up to the B natural, so it could even be spelled as A sharp. The C sharp is going to go up to a D, that becomes the 5th, and the E is going to become the 7th here. So we're going to get this auxiliary diminished 7 on a stronger beat, stronger harmonic stress, and then the weak harmonic stress after that. And then maybe we will end up with a, maybe I'll go to 4 voices for just this last chord. I'll end up with a C6 at the end. So the whole thing sounds like this. As you can hear, that's kind of an old-fashioned sound for us now, but certainly important whenever you're trying to call up the sounds of the Great American Songbook to have these diminished chords in here. What else to say about it? Well, just the only other thing is that these chords, a lot of them have expected resolutions to, say, 3, right? But what normally is going to happen instead when we go from sharp 2 to up to 3 in the bass is we might have an inversion. So let's just talk about that for a second. What's a common inversion that has scale degree 3 in the bass? Well, it would be a C chord with E in the bass, right? So instead of going to a 3 chord, we could go to a C over E, and that would be a 1 over 3, and that would be a good resolution for a sharp 2 diminished 7, for a D sharp diminished 7. Okay, so let's go back to our voicing here that we had with F sharp, C, and A, and then we're going to resolve this up to a 1 over 3, so we're probably going to end up with something like this, a G, here's our C, and then maybe this will go down to a G here. This is a little bit of a, you know, it's not a jazz voicing at all, right? So it's, if we go, here's our D sharp diminished 7, and then that's good for musical theater, it's good for, you know, old-time American music, it's good for a lot of different applications, but probably not, you know, jazz. This isn't a very common voicing for jazz. But diminished 7s will do this. We'll go to an inversion. Just one more to show you is, let's say you had a sharp 4 diminished 7, F sharp diminished 7. So here's F sharp diminished 7. So how might we spell that? A, C. I'm not trying to voice lead it. I guess I should try to voice lead it here. F sharp, A, C, E flat. And so this would be on usually on a weak harmonic stress. And would go up to normally a 5 chord, right? But what happens quite often is that instead of going to a 5, we keep the 5 in the bass, the G, but we are going to go up to a 1 chord again, but which inversion? Second inversion, because the 5th of the chord will be in the bass. So we're going to end up on a C chord, so maybe something like this we could have. Again, notice a good voice leading here. C stays, E goes up to E natural. I'll just put that in parentheses. That's a reminder, accidental. And in this case, we get contrary motion. So again, say we're in the C, we go to a 4, and then we go to a sharp 4, and then to a 1 over 5, and then we could even continue up to there. So, okay. So again, diminished 7s can resolve to, they don't always have to go to a root position chord, they can go to an inversion with the same note in the bass. And F sharp, instead of going to G, can go to C over G. Alright, so that tells you a little bit about inversions and voice leading. And hope you enjoyed that.